Now, breaking news from News Channel 8.
Good afternoon. I'm Lauren Make. We have an update on breaking news we've been following since this morning. A massive manhunt in the USF area is now over after a dramatic police chase. Deputies have been searching for Charlie Christopher Bates. The 24-year-old is accused in several home invasions, and he's accused of sexually assaulting 4 women last night. Just a little while ago, we want to show you how things unfolded a few moments ago. You see the gold car spinning and swerving and going across the road and then coming to rest on the shoulder of the road there. There was then a massive police presence right around that car. We saw officers getting out and there were shots fired in that area. Now, this all just happened moments ago, about 4 or 5 minutes ago. Judge Chapin is in Eagle 8 right now. He witnessed all of this as it happened. Judd, what can you tell us about what's happening now?
I'm losing my talk to you, but can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Tell us what
all right,
you're
we're on
now.
301 at just north of I-4 at the Wfla House Nights Inn, where this police chase came to an end. As they followed him south from the USF area, where he had taken his girlfriend hostage and her roommate and put a gun to her head. He went in the house, shaved his head, changed clothes, took a car, and was trying to head, I think from what we understood, toward Lakeland, where he had family. When they got to Harney Road, he exchanged shots with the police that were following him, Hillsborough County Sheriffs and Tampa police officers. They did a pit stop on him, what they call a pit maneuver, and they spun him out, and he ended up in the front median area right in front of the Wfla House. At that point, officers started yelling, "Shots fired, shots fired." And just a few minutes after that, they had the suspect out on the ground and were doing first aid to him. No officers, from what we heard, were hurt. But the suspect is down and being treated. Whether he is still alive or not, we do not know, as this is just unfolding in front of us, as you see from the picture. So a massive search all morning, and then this wild chase down 301, ending here just north of I-4.
John, I know that you said we can't tell his condition at this point. Have they moved him at all, or can you see him moving at all?
They took him out of the car and put him on the ground and started working on him, but they're not doing much right now. They did call for an EMS to respond immediately, but they said multiple shots were fired, and I counted at least 6 bullet holes in the windshield. So if he is alive, and they still are working on him, he is hurt real badly. His feet have moved, but I don't know whether that's because of what they're doing or whether that's because of what they're doing or whether he's doing it himself.
Now,
but
I know you
a lot
mentioned,
of shots fired.
I know you mentioned that he had apparently taken someone else, a girlfriend, hostage. Was there any indication that there was anyone else in the car with him?
We have not heard, but I thought I heard that he was alone, but that's all I know at this point. And if you look at the picture, the Advanced Life Support Unit from Hillsborough County Fire just pulled on scene.
Tell me a little more about what we're looking at here. Is that road shut down at this point?
301 is closed both directions because of emergency vehicles and to keep people away from the scene till everything is controlled. They're turning traffic around and
as they're working on him, Judd, I know you said there's medical personnel in the area. They've been working on him. Does it appear that they have him in handcuffs at all? Are there guards standing around to guard him?
Listen, we can't. We're not zoomed in tight enough to see, but I'm sure he's handcuffed. That's normally the procedure when they drag him out of the car. But there were at least 20 guns pointed at him. So if he tried to draw a weapon, that would have been the end of it. But they just, as you can see in the picture, they just moved the stretcher up there, and they'll be loading him up. But what his condition is, we really don't know. And I've actually turned my radios off because we are next to an airport, and we also have with many aircraft around us. So The condition is 301 is closed at that Days Inn and that Waffle House. There's a gas station across the street. At Harney Road, they're turning people off 301 southbound and northbound. They're routing them through a neighborhood and then back onto I-4 at this location.
Jed, we just showed that. Sorry, we just showed that video again of that car as it spun out during that chase. Can you tell us a little bit about what led up to that? What were you seeing right before that happened? It sort of dramatically just went right off the side of the road.
Well, they were southbound along 301. Wait just a minute. All right, I'm back with you. I had to listen for the air traffic for a second. They were southbound on Morris Bridge from Fowler. We watched them come that way, and Fletcher. And then he turned southbound. He had about 3 cars right with him, unmarked vehicles. They got onto 301, and he started speeding up. It looked like he was doing about 70 miles an hour down 301. And just as they crossed Harney Road, they did a pit maneuver on him, which is, as you've seen on TV, they tried to hook the car with the front bumper of the squad car and make it spin out. That's what happened. He went off to the left side of the road, then came back up on 301, and then lost control of it completely, and slid backwards into the parking lot at the Waffle House. At that point, someone started shooting. We don't know who, but someone started shooting. At that point, about 6 squad cars opened fire on him, and then they rushed it. They didn't rush the car. They walked up to it very carefully, and then opened the passenger door and drug the guy out. And that's what we saw happening. It all happened very quickly. It was a very low-speed chase up until about the last, I'd say half a mile to a mile. That's when it got exciting.
And they certainly knew who they were following at that point, I would think.
They had a description of the car, the tag number, and they had a description of the guy, the fact that he had even shaved his head. So they knew they had the right guy, and his actions proved that they were correct.
And yeah, Jed, we've been seeing just a massive, massive search going on today. Deputies, police officers, as you referenced, unmarked vehicles as well. What are you seeing now? Is that still the presence out there now? Are things starting to disperse?
No. This investigation is going to go on for quite some time. I would guess that 301 is going to be closed for at least southbound and most likely northbound also for a couple of hours, because the shots initially were fired at Harney Road, which is north of here, about a quarter of a mile, where they have squad cars set up there, and then proceeded southbound to this point. So they're going to have to process this entire scene before they open 301. That's going to take some time.
This scene and then others as well, as you mentioned, the other area that he had come from, certainly will want to know the condition of the folks there and whether the girlfriend that you mentioned, to make sure that she's okay. We don't really know what happened at that location at this point, so certainly we'll want to see what happened there. They have multiple scenes to be processing as well as this one.
That's correct. The original crime scenes up off of Bruce B. Downs were being processed. This apartment complex just north of University Community Hospital.
Let me interrupt you for just a second. We do see that stretcher pulling out there. He appears to be on the stretcher. Is there anything that you can tell about the way that they're moving him?
No, it is the suspect. He is strapped down. They have oxygen on him. All this is standard procedure. Even if they are pretty sure that he is deceased, they will still transport him to the hospital so that a doctor can make that call. But if he is still alive, you saw he had several officers around him, as well as police department paramedics and fire department paramedics. So if he's alive, they will be doing what they can to try to keep him alive. Obviously, they want to know why he did all this and what caused all this to happen. So they will be doing everything they can on there, but we'll have to wait to see once they get him to the nearest hospital. And my guess is going to be the trauma center at Tampa General, whether or not he made this. But with a number of bullet wounds and, as the police officer said, multiple bullet wounds, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Well, certainly if he is alive, there will be a lot of questions for him, and he is already facing multiple charges. I cannot hear you anymore at this point. All right, Judge Chapin reporting for us live from Eagle 8. As you can see, the scene there, still a lot of police, a lot of deputies on the scene. That is US 301 blocked off there, where it appears that a suspect, at least injured, is now in custody. Police had been chasing him down this road earlier. We want to show you how this chase ended. If you take a look at what he was in a gold vehicle right there, and as Judd just described to you, they did a maneuver to sort of get him off the road. He then crosses back across the road and ends up on the shoulder there. Then immediately, law enforcement officers getting out of their vehicles. Multiple unmarked vehicles on the scene there, shots fired. As Judd just mentioned, he saw multiple gunshots in the windshield. You can actually see the firing happening right there, coming from some of the officers' guns. We don't know exactly where all of those shots came from. We don't know whether he shot at the officers as well. He was obviously injured. We do know that he was then brought out of the car, put onto a stretcher, and loaded into an ambulance. We don't know what his condition is at this point, but this is what officers have been looking for. They've been searching for him all morning. So at this point, we will have to wait and get an update from Tampa Police and the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office on what his condition is, on the condition of anyone else that he was involved with prior to that chase. Again, this is the man that they've been looking for all morning, Charlie Christopher Bates. He is 24 years old, and he allegedly involved in a home invasion, in sexual assaults, and then, as we just heard, possibly another incident as well with a girlfriend. So we will be waiting to see what the final charges will be for him, what the final explanation is for how and why all of this happened. But it does appear that on a road in Hillsborough County, things came to an end early this afternoon. We are, of course, going to be continuing to follow this story throughout the afternoon. If there are significant updates, we will break into programming again and bring those to you. We will also update this story on WFLA.com and on News Channel 8, first at 4 with Stacey Scheibel.
This has been a breaking news report. Stay tuned to News Channel 8 for more details.